Imagine being surrounded by hungry lions. Their sinister shadows projected on the walls by the light of the torches. This was the situation of Daniel in the lion's den. However, something miraculous happened. Instead of attacking him, the lions calmed down. As if an invisible force had held them back in prayer, Daniel was protected by an angel who sealed the lions' mouths, transforming a scene of terror into an environment of peace and irreverence. The beasts, known for their brutality, became docile like lambs before the servant of God. Get ready to discover the impressive story of Daniel, from his prophetic visions to his unwavering courage in the face of challenges that would test any human being. His life is a journey full of faith, miracles, and perseverance. Follow how he stood firm in his faith even when all seemed lost, and see what we can learn from this inspiring example. The scorching heat of the desert whispered ancient secrets as Daniel walked in exile through Babylon, the land of Judah. Once his home was now just a vague memory, a distant shadow in his memory. Daniel, of noble birth, found himself in strange lands far from the hills, family, and the temple, where he learned to love and fear God. During this time of desolation, the mighty king Nebuchadnezzar had conquered Jerusalem, taking with him captives hand-picked for their health and intellect. Daniel, along with his friends Ananias, Mishael, and Azariah, was taken to the great city of Babylon, a vibrant and lively metropolis. There received new names, marking the beginning of a new reality under the rule of a foreign kingdom. But despite all the opulence and glory around him, Daniel never forgot his true God. The challenges came early. The king Nebuchadnezzar ordered that the young captives be fed with the delicacies of the palace, but Daniel, determined not to become contaminated, asked permission to follow a simple diet of vegetables and water. Even facing resistance, his faith and determination prevailed. After 10 days, he and his friends were healthier than the other young people who ate at the royal banquet. This little victory did not go unnoticed, setting the stage for even greater challenges as life in the palace continued. King Nebuchadnezzar was haunted by disturbing dreams. Desperate for answers, he summoned all the wise men of the kingdom, demanding that they not only interpret but also reveal the dream. Unable to perform such a feat, they feared for their lives. It was then that Daniel, with courage and unshakable faith, asked for time to seek God's answer. During the at-night, a vision revealed the dream and its meaning to Daniel, who at dawn presented himself before the king with divine wisdom. Daniel revealed that the statue in the dream represented kingdoms that would succeed one another, but that an eternal kingdom established by God would prevail over all. In awe, Nebuchadnezzar elevated Daniel to a position of great honor. However, envy soon manifested itself in the palace, and a new plot against Daniel and his friends began to be woven when the king ordered everyone to worship a golden statue. Ananias, Mishael, and Azariah refused to prostrate themselves, preferring to face death in the fiery furnace. Even in the face of danger, their trust in God did not help. When they were thrown into the fire, something extraordinary happened. A figure heavenly appeared beside them, protecting them from the flames. When he saw the miracle, Nebuchadnezzar recognized the power of the God of Israel. This demonstration of unshakable faith transformed the perception of the king. But new challenges and conspiracies continued to emerge in the vast Babylonian empire. Daniel would face even more trials, where his faith and wisdom would be tested again, proving that true strength comes from an unshakable belief in the power of God. The lights of dawn in Babylon brought the promise of new challenges. And Daniel was always ready to face them, trusting in the God who reveals the deepest mysteries. You are about to know a story of unshakable faith and extraordinary miracles. Discover how Daniel defied kings and beasts by standing steadfast in your faith, and see what we can learn from this incredible journey. The prophetic dream of Nabucodonosor, the divine revelation and the destiny of King Nebuchadnezzar. Trembling with anxiety brought his dream to the throne, revealing a disturbing vision. He described a gigantic tree in the center of the earth. Its height was so immense that it touched the heavens, visible from every corner of the earth. Its leaves were lush and its fruits abundant. Animals of all kinds found shelter in its shade, and birds nested in its branches. It was a source of sustenance for all creatures. While the king recounted his dream, with a trembling voice he described an even more disturbing vision. An angel came down from heaven and announced in a loud voice, "Cut down the tree. Cut down its branches, take away its leaves, and scatter its fruit. Let the animals go from under it and the birds from its branches, but leave the trunk and roots in the earth, bound with chains of iron and bronze, and let it be drenched with the dew of heaven. Let its portion be with the animals and the grass of the earth, and let its heart be changed from the heart of man to the heart of beast, until 7 periods of time pass over him." The king with the implanted eyes turned to Daniel for understanding. Daniel, with the gravity of the heavy message in his heart, took a deep breath and began to explain. He said, "O king, the tree you saw is a metaphor for you. You grew and became strong, and your dominion extended to the heavens and to the ends of the earth. But the decree of the angel is against you. You will be driven from men, and you will live with the animals. You will eat grass like oxen, and you will be wet with the dew of heaven. 7 times will pass until he recognizes that the Most High rules over the kingdoms of men and gives the kingdom to whomever he wants." Silence fell heavily over the throne room. The revelation was terrible, but there was a small hope. The fact that the trunk and roots had been left in the ground indicated that the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar could be restored when he acknowledged the sovereignty of God. Although shaken, Nebuchadnezzar could not ignore the clarity and authority of Daniel's words. The interpretation seemed like a warning and an opportunity for redemption. As Daniel withdrew from the king's presence, a new shadow began to form on the horizon. Palace intrigues and conspiracies simmered in the shadows, promising to test the faith of Daniel and his friends amid an environment of growing hostility and danger. Belshazzar's Great Banquet and the mystery of the scribe's hand. On the night of Belshazzar's great banquet, the new king of Babylon, the palace was filled with lights and laughter, with the joyful sound of music and the clinking of glasses. Belshazzar, in his arrogance, ordered that the gold and silver vessels be brought from the temple of Jerusalem, desecrating them by using them to drink wine and praise false gods. At the height of the celebration, something extraordinary and terrifying happened. A disembodied human hand appeared and began to write on the wall. The hall was plunged into icy silence, and perplexity took hold of Belshazzar and his guests. None of the king's wise men or enchanters could interpret the mysterious words. Desperate, Belshazzar was advised by the queen mother to call Daniel, known to have the spirit of the gods. Daniel, now an older man but still wise and respected, was brought before the king. Belshazzar offered riches, "And you would honor Daniel if he interprets the writing." But Daniel, with unshakable serenity, refused the gifts and began to speak. "O king, the Most High gave Nebuchadnezzar your father greatness, glory, and majesty, but when his heart was lifted up in pride he was deposed from his throne and his glory was taken from him. He was transformed into a being similar to animals and like wild donkeys eating grass like the oxen until he recognized that the Most High rules over the kingdom of men. Daniel then looked straight at Belshazzar and warned him, "You, Belshazzar, did not humble your heart even though you knew. All this on the contrary you exalted yourself against the Lord of heaven, drinking wine from the sacred vessels and praising gods of silver and gold who neither see nor hear. Therefore the interpretation of the writing is, mean God numbered the days of your reign and brought it to an end. Tekel, you were weighed in the balance and found wanting. Perez, your kingdom was divided and given to the Persians. The silence that followed was crushing. Belshazzar's fate was sealed, and confusion and fear spread through the palace. Meanwhile the Persian forces led by Cyrus were at the gate of the city ready to invade Babylon. Daniel would soon find himself under the rule of a new empire, and the challenges ahead would further test his faith and determination. Amidst the political changes and palace intrigues, Daniel would continue to shine as a beacon of courage and devotion, facing new dangers and revealing the power of the God he served. Daniel's rise in the Persian Empire and the test of faith with the conquest of Babylon by Cyrus the Great. The empire began a new chapter. Daniel impressed Cyrus with his wisdom and integrity, was held in a position of high esteem under the reign of Darius, one of Cyrus's appointed governors. Daniel was promoted to one of the 3 high officials overseeing the satraps of the kingdom. However, Daniel's rise provoked envy among the other satraps, and high-ranking officials began to attack his faith by persuading Darius to issue a decree forbidding anyone from petitioning any god or man except the king himself for 30 days. The penalty for violating the order was to be thrown into the lion's den. Daniel, upon hearing of the decree, did not hesitate and continued to pray to his God 3 times a day as usual. The conspirators, knowing of his devotion, caught him and reported him to King Darius. Distressed, he tried to save Daniel, but the laws of the Medes and Persians could not be revoked. With a heavy heart, he ordered Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den, expressing the hope that his God would deliver him from the darkness of the den. Something extraordinary happened. God, he sent an angel to close the lions' mouths, and Daniel remained unharmed. At dawn, Darius hurried to the den and, relieved, heard Daniel confirm that God had protected him. Daniel's accusers were thrown into the den, and the lions devoured them before they reached the ground. Amazed, Darius issued a new decree proclaiming that everyone in the kingdom should fear and revere the God of Daniel, for he is the living God and his kingdom will never be destroyed. However, even with this great demonstration of faith and power, new challenges and intrigues awaited Daniel in the vast Persian Empire. Daniel's unshakable faith would be tested again with visions revealing secrets that would change the course of history forever. Before Daniel, an imposing figure appeared, dressed in pure linen and a golden belt. His face shone like lightning. His eyes were like burning torches, and his arms and legs seemed like polished bronze. His voice resounded like the sound of a multitude. The vision was so terrifying that Daniel fell prostrate, but the celestial being lifted him up and infused him with strength. "Do not be afraid, Daniel," said the angel, "since the first day you decided to seek understanding and humility before God. God's words were heard, I came because of them, but the prince of the kingdom of Persia resisted me for 21 days. It was then that Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, and I remained there with the kings of Persia." These words revealed to Daniel an invisible battle, a spiritual conflict fought on high while Daniel was on earth. The angel began to show him visions of great importance, kingdoms that would dominate the world until the final establishment of the kingdom of God. He saw a sequence of hideous beasts representing future kingdoms, a lion with eagle wings, a ravenous bear, a leopard with 4 bird wings, and a fourth, an indescribable beast with 10 horns. Among these visions, a small horn stood out, knocking down 3 of the 10 and becoming a boasting against the Most High. Despite the disturbing visions, Daniel also witnessed the arrival of a son of man who received dominion, glory, and an everlasting kingdom from the Ancient of Days. These visions, filled with symbolism and mystery, brought a mixture of hope and uneasiness to Daniel's heart. He knelt down, feeling the weight of the revelations. As the angel continued to explain the future events, Daniel understood that, despite the earthly kingdoms that would rise and fall in the end, the kingdom of God prevailing would be bringing everlasting peace and justice. The angel announced A final vision of great tribulation for the people but also of restoration. Daniel knew he needed to record and share these visions, preparing his people for the times that were approaching. As the shadows of the future approached, Daniel was destined to be the prophet who would light the way with his words of divine wisdom. Even with these prophetic visions, Daniel was not free from the present challenges. The angel spoke of a great spiritual battle and events that would affect the entire known world. The coming days would be crucial, and Daniel would have to seek God even more to obtain the wisdom necessary to guide and protect his people through the impending tribulation. Over the years, Daniel stood as a pillar of faith and wisdom in a world in constant change. His story, filled with courage, devotion, and divine revelations, inspired generations to remain firm in their faith regardless of adversity. In Daniel's heart there was always the certainty that despite the challenges, the kingdom of God would triumph, bringing peace and justice. Etnas to all who trusted in him. Thank you for following our series about the life of Daniel, a journey of faith, courage, and divine revelations. If you liked this content, don't forget to give it a like, share it with friends and family, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. Activate the bell to receive notifications and not miss our next videos. May God bless you, and see you next time.